Okay, Christina. So any questions about those birth control pills?
Nope, no questions about the pills or anything I've been on.
Great. Well, before we stop, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about, if it's okay with you. I think you've filled out some health questionnaires before you came in the room with me, and I wonder if we could talk about those for a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. So some of the questions you answered were on drinking and drug use, and I wonder if we could talk about those in particular.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, I wonder how it felt for you to be filling out those questions.
It was a little odd. I haven't really done that before. Don't really know how it applies to sort of like the birth control and stuff, but otherwise it was fine, pretty easy to answer.
Okay, good. Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily apply to birth control pills. We ask those questions of everybody because sometimes people's responses to questions reveal some health concerns and health risks. And here at the clinic, we're all about trying to keep people as healthy and safe as possible. So, well, if it's okay with you, what I'd like to do is to give you feedback on what your responses might mean. And I want to make it clear that my job is not going to be to twist your arm to make any changes. That's going to be totally up to you. I'm just here to tell you what your responses might mean and see if you're interested in making any changes or not. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, the way you filled out both questionnaires suggests that actually you fall into a category that we call problem drinking or problem use. And it doesn't mean that you have a problem. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're an alcoholic or an addict. What it does mean is that, at least the way you responded, it suggests that maybe your drinking or drug use is causing some problems in your life for you that maybe you'd prefer not to have. So I wonder what you think about that.
So I guess, hearing problem, like it might be a problem, it's a little scary at first. But when I'm thinking about it, I guess I do drink pretty often and I'm not getting any younger. I probably isn't really good for me. So I guess I can see how that might be, not really great for my health.
So you feel that maybe your drinking or drug use is not good for you?
Well, I guess everything in moderation, but when I'm thinking about it, I sometimes do go a little overboard, drink a little bit too much on the weekends and stuff. So yeah, that can't be good for you. I certainly don't feel great the morning after if I've had a real fun night.
Mm-hmm. So on one hand, you're having some fun. On the other hand, you're not feeling good the next day.
Right. Yeah. And it's sort of weird because I'm a social drinker. That's how I would, I guess, categorize myself. I like going out with my friends on the weekends. I'm currently not in a relationship. So looking for someone to settle down with. So I go on dates sometimes and I have anxiety. I get a little bit nervous, and having a drink or two can really kind of help take the edge off and sort of just, let me relax. I've got 2 kids and I'm single, as I mentioned. So I just feel a lot of stress, and having a few drinks, maybe a little bit of pot now and then. I have a medical prescription for it, but it just kind of helps take the edge off. But still, you go a little overboard, yeah, it doesn't feel great.
I see. So tell me about some of those times where maybe you feel you went a little overboard.
Well, I guess there was sometimes if I have a little too much to drink, I'm not exactly the nicest person. I've gotten into some fights with my mom, a couple of fights with my friends sometimes. And, like, honestly, that feels worse the next morning than anything, just feel so guilty afterwards. And yeah, I kind of found myself in some scary situations a couple of times too, at night or when I've been out. So
Scary situations.
well, more recently, I had met up with a guy that I was going on a date with, and we had some drinks and stuff. And I was kind of intoxicated, and we went home, and yeah, he wasn't, ended up not being such a great guy in the end. And that was a scary situation. I got out of it. I was okay, but it was definitely a bit of a wake up call, as far as me needing to keep my wits about me, especially if I'm with new people or I don't, not with my friends or something like that, so I'm just really glad that that didn't turn into something worse.
Wow. What was it like when you were with him and you realized he wasn't the kind of guy you thought he was?
I just like thought about my kids and I was just like, I was really scared and just did whatever I could to get out of there, and I did, but that's probably the first time that I really was like worried, I might get hurt or, I might, something might happen to me and my kids would really ultimately be the ones that, pay for it. So yeah, it was a wake up call.
Wow. So, and in the future, you want to be safe for yourself and especially be safe so that you can be around for your kids.
Yeah. Cause if I hadn't, yeah, if I had not had so many drinks, I probably would have been able to see the situation I might have been in a little bit earlier. So yeah, I definitely, I see how that kind of might have played into it. And yeah.
I see. So on one hand, drinking helps you with your stress. It helps you be social. On the other hand, you've ended up getting in fights with your mom and fights with your friends, feeling guilty about that. And it's even gotten you in situations where you feel that maybe even your life was at risk and your kids might be without a mom. I wonder what this leaves you thinking about your drinking and pot smoking.
Yeah. I guess I never really thought about, what that, like how I would reduce drinking, probably because it's sort of, just kind of a habit that I've fallen into, especially because I'm going out with friends and stuff. But I'd be willing to maybe learn a little bit more about ways that I might be able to de-stress, have a good time, but not, not put myself at risk.
Okay. Well, would it be okay if I make a recommendation? And of course, it'll be up to you what you decide to do about it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, it turns out there's been a lot of research into how much drinking is safe for women, and women who tend to have some of the experiences that you've had with drinking, the negative experiences, they tend to have more than 3 drinks at a time, and they tend to have more than 7 drinks in a week. And when I say a drink, that's a certain standard amount of alcohol. What do you tend to drink when you drink? Beer, wine, liquor?
Oh, I have like pretty much wine coolers. For the most part, I'll have a mixed drink every now and then too, especially if I'm out.
Okay. So for a wine cooler that's pre-made, that would tend to be 12 ounces. And for a cocktail, that would be just a 1.5 ounce shot of hard liquor. So in terms of those drinks that we call standard drinks that all contain the same amount of alcohol, the recommendation would be no more than 3 drinks on any occasion and no more than 7 in a week. And then with marijuana on top of that, that kind of can add to the danger of alcohol when you use them together. So if you're going to smoke pot at the same time you're drinking alcohol, it would be safest really to use less alcohol, or maybe not to mix alcohol and marijuana at all. So I wonder what you think about that recommendation.
Yeah, that that makes sense. A little, I can't believe it's really only seven drinks in a week. That's a little surprising. I would have thought it was more than that, but yeah, I definitely think that it's now that I have that in mind, it's something I could work towards doing, I think.
Mhm. So what do you think would be the most important advantages of working toward those recommendations?
I really, it all comes down to my kids for me. And, if they're, if I'm my health, if I have health complications because of drinking or smoking pot, you know, cutting back for me just means being there for my kids longer, I guess.
Mhm. Okay. So it sounds like you are ready to cut down some. A lot of people find it helpful to set firm limits for themselves. I wonder what you would think about doing that.
Yeah, like I said, 7 drinks in a week seems a little low, but I think if as long as I focused on maybe no more than 3 drinks in a night, that would be helpful to keep in mind, if I'm going out or something.
Okay, so you're not ready to promise yourself to limit yourself to 7 drinks in a week, but you are ready to say no more than 3 drinks on any particular night.
Yeah, I mean, just to start off, I think that maybe, like I started off with that and then worked my way up to, maybe no more than 7 in a week, like the recommendation.
Okay. And when I talk about drinks, by the way, I mean like no more than a 12-ounce wine cooler or no more than a 1.5 ounce shot of hard liquor. Is that what you're thinking also when you say no more than 3 drinks?
Yeah, basically, and maybe even just cutting out liquor altogether, just, if I wanted a couple wine coolers to
Okay.
relax.
And what thoughts do you have about smoking pot?
Yeah, I have a prescription for medical marijuana. So I guess yeah, is that like, are there limits to that as well? Because I would have thought that was okay. I have it for anxiety and stuff, and definitely helps me relax when I need it.
Yeah, a little marijuana to take the edge off some stress can be fine for many people. Um, Many people can get to the point where they're smoking so much marijuana that it can hurt certain aspects of their lives and cause some medical risks. I guess in your case, how many joints do you tend to smoke at a time?
Well, probably like 1 to 2 in a night, I would say. Not necessarily every night, but especially if I'm on my own, and maybe just one, and
Mhm.
most nights, but not necessarily every night.
Okay. So yeah, that amount should certainly be safe. However, if you're combining the marijuana with the alcohol, that can put you at more risk for continuing to suffer some of the negative experiences you've been having. So I wonder what you're thinking about using pot together with alcohol at this point.
Yeah, I didn't realize that that was like not a good thing to do together. So, I definitely feel far more relaxed and de-stressed if I'm just using marijuana. So I think that I'm not gonna mix those two together anymore. I didn't realize that that wasn't a great thing to do.
Okay. So it sounds like you're ready to make some real important changes. It sounds like you're ready to say that you're going to have no more than 3 of those standard drinks in an evening. And if you're drinking alcohol, you're not going to smoke pot. And other times of the week, if you're smoking pot, you're not going to have alcohol. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan.
Okay. Well, I'm really encouraged because I understand that your number one priority is being the best mom you could be for your kids. You recognize that your previous pattern of drinking and drug use is kind of getting in the way of that, and you're ready to make solid changes so that you can really be the best mom that you can. I want to let you know that some people who decide to make these changes, it's smooth sailing and no problem. Other people sometimes find it's difficult to make those changes. So if it's okay with you, I would like to just check in with you, or actually, if it's not me, maybe my nurse would call you and just check in at home how things are going. And if things are going great, fine. If you are having difficulty, nobody's going to be angry. Nobody's going to judge you. We're just going to want to put our heads together and figure out, okay, if that's not working for you, what else can we do? Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay. Any questions about what we've talked about, Christina? The alcohol, the marijuana, birth control pills, anything else on your mind?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think pretty much covers it.
Okay, well, it's really nice to see you today, and I look forward to being in touch soon.